No, do you know what you want to say and like share stories and that kind of thing?
We'll work it out.
Are you going to start it? The podcast?
You can start it.
Okay. Just remember the cameras.
I fucking remember where the camera is. What is this, amateur hour?
I clearly have Steve back. It's obviously been a month already. And here you are, aren't you?
Yep.
Causing mischief.
Mischief and mayhem.
Causing trouble and making me frustrated. Actually, no, you're the stimulus. I'm choosing how to respond and you're just being you.
Yep.
And I am triggered.
Well,
Your hair looks really fluffy.
My hair?
No, my hair. Look at it. So much curl on top. Anyway.
Girls get the girls.
Girls get the girls. What did you enjoy about our relationship? And what did you not enjoy about our relationship in the last week?
I did not enjoy the last 5 minutes of our relationship.
Oh.
As you were preparing the podcast and you were yelling at me and frustrated and angry.
Was I really yelling at you? Was I really yelling?
Well,
come on.
Poetic license.
No, because you make me sound like an asshole. Was I really yelling?
No, but you definitely
say it as it was.
Okay.
As it was. Don't fucking add drama.
Right. Basically, what you're doing now is what it was for 5 minutes.
You know what it is? You just don't like when I'm not speaking in my cute voice.
No, it's not that at all.
All right.
What I did like is...
So is that seriously what you didn't enjoy about the whole week?
Yeah.
Just that?
Yeah. That's the most recent. I'm wrong with that.
All right.
And then what I did enjoy is yesterday we had a really good, fun evening. Lots of laughing, a few drinks, just good vibes.
Yeah,
that I enjoy.
Good vibe.
It's good vibes. I enjoy when we have fun. Which,
yes.
Yeah, which we'll talk about later.
And we'll talk about it later because why? You're going to ask me.
For now,
the question.
I was going to ask, and I'm deeply curious and interested in wanting to know, what have you enjoyed and not enjoyed about our relationship since the last episode?
This week I have not enjoyed, or I did not enjoy when you shut me out.
Okay.
And went to bed angry. When you were obviously going through a little moment, and I felt very uncomfortable to like just be around you. I was like, do I talk? Do I not talk? Do I say something? Do I not say something? I put into practice, is there something that you'd like to clear? Or that we would like to clear? And yeah, I didn't like feeling locked out. But what I did enjoy, 2 parts, is that the next day when I rang you on my way back from Edgar's mission, you were open to chatting because, you were open to clearing and letting me in.
Yep.
About what you were going through in your own mind. I really enjoyed that. And I also enjoyed last night because I think what contributed to that was me not being control cat like I usually am, being like, lunch is finished with my friends, I'm going to lock it off. And I was open to going with the flow. So I enjoyed you being open, going with the flow, because I came home, I had my my birthday lunch with my friends, which I haven't done for 8 years because I'm a birthday Grinch. I'll talk about that in another episode. And I came home and you were like, can't wait for you to come home. We can sit and cuddle on the couch and watch movies. But then I came home and Zoe was in an awesome mood. I was in a fun mood. And Zoe's like, let's go out and have a drink. And you're like, yeah, why not? And I'm like, all right, cool. Why not? So you're going with the flow. Like you in that moment taught me Like if that was the other way around, I would have been like, no, we're
No.
sitting on the couch and we're wearing great tracksuit pants and we're watching these movies. Because I would have had a plan and needed to stick to that plan.
Hmm.
And yeah,
It
you
mirrored to you what flexibility can bring.
correct. And even my friend Donna, who then met up with us after, she mirrored back to me flexibility because she went home and then she's like, shit, yeah, I'll come meet you out for a drink. So
Yeah. You're not a big fan of impulsive shit. You
my
don't like when things change.
in my truth, I'm okay with it, but in my ego story, no, I'm not.
Yeah.
In my ego story, there's a lot of like, it's like my whole something internally just goes, no, 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 no. Things need to stay the way they are for things to be okay.
Hmm.
There's a real like there's like these flags that go off in my body, but they're not the flagging for the situation is out of sync. Does that make sense?
Yeah, totally.
Which does bring us to today's topic, which Steve wanted to bring to the table, which is about having fun in relationships.
Yeah. We were on the beach the other day, and
Talk a bit more into,
we were on the beach
maybe lift it up
the other day,
because you're a tall fella.
and I said to Kat, I think I've got a really good idea for our podcast. It's basically making sure that you have fun, consistent amounts of fun in your relationship. Um, I think when you observe people's relationships, you can see how, every relationship kind of goes the same way, right?
Talk it out.
You come together and
Honeymoon
period. And it's like, oh my God.
I'll do I'll stay up till 5 a.m. and talk to you and then go to work at 7 and be fine.
Yeah, and it's like, I can't wait to see you, and like it's all exciting, and like your sex life is like, oh my God, we're gonna have sex 7 times a day for like the rest of our lives. And then you fast forward like 2 years and it's like on a couch, nom, nom, nom. Wanna have sex? Nah. Wanna go out? Nah.
Farting.
Yeah, the person is no longer like exciting because and look, it's the same with anything. Like, it's if you buy a car, it's exciting for the first few weeks. It's a brand new car, and then after a while,
Buying clothes or a bag or a whatever.
It doesn't matter what it is. Everything gets old quick, right? Things that you become, like you look at kids. Like I remember with my daughters, like I gave them their new iPhones, like in Christmas, and they're like, "Oh my God, it's my iPhone!" And like a month later, like they're flicking it across the fucking table, and I'm like, "Dude, it's like a $2,000 phone." They're like, meh, So that's the human condition, which is fine. But if you acknowledge the human condition, then you also have to acknowledge the fact that it's not truth, right? It's just taking shit for granted. And as a result of taking things for granted, you no longer put in effort towards it. But I would be a betting person to say there's a lot of relationships out there who, if the relationship fails, in hindsight, you're like, fuck, if I would have just put in more work, if I would have shown up better, then that relationship could have done really well. But I took it for granted, and in hindsight, I shit the bed. And so today, I guess the dynamic that we're talking about showing up better as, I think last time we talked about like, you show up better in your relationship if you take time for yourself to go and do your own stuff.
Yeah.
And then as a result, you show up as a better person, a better version of you, and therefore the relationship, flourishes. Well, today's topic for what you bring to the relationship is just this concept of fun.
Yeah.
I'm very conscious of noticing when we're having fun.
Yes.
When we're laughing.
Yes. I love it.
Yeah. Like, if we've gone out and had a really good night, or if we're just in a really playful mood, like you feel the energy of the relationship. And what got me thinking on our walk the other day, I think we were actually like pissing ourselves laughing coming up the hill. And I'm like, like there's a lot of people that like this spark of fun, like may have gone out, but they haven't gone about reigniting it and don't know how to reignite it.
Well, I guess, because with fun comes playfulness, right?
Yeah.
And I as we get older and we have responsibilities, and particularly if you have children and there's added then responsibilities, our own sense of playfulness can go out the window because we're like, I've got to do the washing, got to do this, got to do that. I've got to wipe the skirting boards if you're obsessive compulsive tendencies like myself. I've got to get all these things done. And I don't know if anyone here is familiar with the chakra system, but I've done quite a lot of work in that. And the chakra for playfulness and fun is the sacral chakra, the second one, and it is connected to our inner child. It's connected to playfulness, sensuality, being super present, joyful, and really taking in the moment. You know, it's like when we stop and we legitimately smell a rose, you
Mm.
know, or when you smell jasmine, you're like, oh, wait, stop. And you really smell it like that. That's a sense of joy and a sense of playfulness, but it requires us to be very, very present. And if you think about your own life, and even if I think about my own life, how quickly that goes when we get into hyper responsibility. Responsibility is an awesome trait, but when it moves into, you know, always needing to get shit done or doing something, that playfulness typically is the first thing I believe to go in
Mm.
ourselves. So then how the hell do we bring that into relationships as relationships age? You know what I mean?
Yeah. I mean, like I'm quite lucky because I am fundamentally at my core very immature, right? Like, you know, I build Lego not for my kids, for myself.
Yeah.
You know, a lot of the things that I do as hobbies are very like fun orientated or, you know, adrenaline
Yeah,
orientated.
you are a playful being.
I'm a playful dude,
Yeah.
right? Like
Or
I
you practice, I'd say you practice playfulness.
yeah,
Yeah.
because you know the contrast for me, light and dark, is that you know what I do day to day is generally pretty serious stuff.
Mm.
Like you can't really be playful in business and you know that sort of stuff
Well, in
because
your business anyway.
yeah.
Yeah.
Um, so so I guess I have the advantage that I automatically want to go to that place. Like I
Mm.
want to make any serious situation a bit more fun.
Yeah.
You know, I'll be that guy that like throws in the comment in the middle of someone, you know, being quite deep about something just to throw some light
Yeah.
in
But is
there.
that also your own awkwardness?
No, I just think there's always a place to find lightness.
Yeah.
And you know, I get that there's people out there who are serious people, but I think it's yeah, for me if I was going to summarize today, it's kind of like how do you grab your inner child, reconnect with it,
Mm.
bring it along to your relationship and
Mm.
do some fun stuff.
Mm.
Um I think that there's a lot of out there and you're even for you and for me like you know it's like well there's conditions that have to be met for fun like
Mm.
your conditions might be that I have to do this first and then I can have fun
Mm.
or you know other people can be well we can have fun at these times. I think it's just more a question of or raising the question for your listeners of you know if you reflect on your relationship at the moment, is there fun in it? If there
Mm.
isn't, why isn't it there? What
Mm.
could you do to bring it back? What would the relationship feel like if you could bring it back? And
Let's
it's
share let's share ways how we have fun. Like from your perspective in our relationship, how do you think you bring fun? How do you see that I bring fun to contribute to us being like little dickheads?
I think it's hard to explain it. It's just the fact that we are little dickheads. You know,
Yeah,
it's
but what do we, you know, because you and I are at times and we know how to connect to our inner child quite quickly because we've both done work with that. And yes, there are times where we don't connect to our inner child, but we know how to. Um, yeah, for you in our relationship, if it is fun, like if you were explaining to someone else, like as someone who, and you were sharing about our relationship and how fun it is, and they said, "Oh, how so?"
I think it's well, I mean there's probably a few things. The first part to have fun together is you've got to make time to be together.
Mm.
And consciously choosing to be together, you know, like not because you have to be, but you know, you're making some time out.
Mm.
So um it's such a hard one to explain. It's a vibe. It's like a fun energy. It doesn't have to be a specific thing. It's not like we go out to
No, I know,
you know,
I know.
like yesterday we did. We went out, we had some drinks, and you
Mm.
know, it was a fun night. But it can be like you can be cooking. you know, and I'll just sit on the other side of the counter and we'll be chatting, but we'll be giggling and laughing
Mm,
because we're being dickheads.
mm.
Um, I think it's more the, you know, if you think back to when we spoke about, you know, episodes and episodes ago about how do you define your relationship, right? What values will your relationship have?
Yeah, what's
What
the end
trait?
result?
Yeah,
Mm.
what's the end result of it? What traits will it have? Well, you know, is fun in the list? And if it is, you know, then
How do you bring it?
how do
Yeah.
you bring it? Um, and it's not an easy one to explain. And the other thing is, like, fun is going to be different to everybody,
I
right?
know, I know.
Like
But I
for me,
think little, yeah, go, go.
I'll give you an example
Yeah,
of
go.
fun. So I'm lying in bed, cat's in the bathroom. I hear your little tootski go off, right? Because you're on the toilet and you do a fart, and instead of like going, "Oh, that's disgusting," I'll be like, "I heard that," and then there you go, and then instantly out of the bathroom comes this bellow of laughter because you know you've been busted, right? Nothing happened, but there's fun and there's laughter,
Yeah, yeah, that's true.
right?
That's true.
It's a method. It's an engagement method of just
Yeah, because it's like little kids. If a
yeah,
little kid heard, they'd be like, "Oh, I heard you
yeah, correct.
fart." Yeah.
Um, so
I know that, like, sometimes when you and I will be walking down the canal or down the beach, and if Steve's in, if we're just, you know, if we're not on or if we're not super connected, sometimes I'll just like really softly pinch his in between his butt crack. Like, obviously he's got pants on because we're walking, and then he'll, you know, he'll shuffle his little bum and then he'll try and push my hand away, but then he's laughing, like he's smirked, and then I've smirked, and then I'll be like, "Talk to me,"
yeah,
you know, and then it shifts the energy,
yeah,
doesn't it?
you
Yeah.
bring a playfulness to your ongoing relationship,
Mm.
and I think that when we have times where that's not there,
Yeah.
it's like an invisible force, right? It's like little bits of playfulness like pull you back together
Mm.
and reconnect you, and then when they stop, like you're slowly sort of separating. Like
Yeah.
a lot of things in life are dynamic, right?
Mm.
You're either, you know, there's this old saying, you know, you're either growing or you're dying. You know, you're either building muscle or you're losing muscle. You're either gaining weight or you're losing weight. Nothing really stands still,
Mm.
and your relationship is exactly the same. And if
Mm.
you look at this one dynamic of the relationship, which is playfulness, it's either moving away or it's moving forward. And the problem is that when it does move away for a considerable amount
Yeah.
of time,
Mm.
it's you know,
Yeah.
conditioning is such a massive thing in people's lives. Like we were talking about this last night about how you can be in a relationship that's shit, but you know, you stay in that shit place for like, you know, 7 to 10 years, and all of a sudden that's the norm.
Yeah.
And it's only when that relationship finishes and you bring in something completely new, you're like, holy shit, I didn't even realize like
Mm.
that relationship was that bad until now that I've got a good one.
I just started thinking in my head, I'm like, oh, maybe it's time for me.
Yeah, go see what else is out there, babe. Ladies, I'm available. DM me, not catch on. Um, so yeah, so if this playfulness like slides on out,
Yeah.
then what happens is that you condition yourselves to this new reality where there isn't playfulness anymore. And so you're like,
Mm.
well, how do I get it back? Well, the way you get it back is you show up and you bring playfulness.
Yeah.
And
But you got to
then
bring, but that then takes, so it's the value of responsibility to be responsible to bring the playfulness back in yourself, right? It's not about, you're not bringing playfulness, you're not fun anymore, you're
correct.
not this, you're not that. Because I just, as you were just talking then, I just thought, fuck, there are so many ways for relationships to come back,
Hmm.
right? To come back to what it, not maybe not what it was, but the essence of why you fell in love with that person,
Yeah.
and how many ways there is to come back, but also how quickly we let those ways go. You know, so it takes the value of responsibility to go, fuck, I'm not being
Well,
playful. I'm being serious. And now I'm seeing them as the enemy and them as boring, them as the problem, them as this, them as that. But are you are you putting playfulness to bed? Are you putting fun to bed? What are you doing slash not doing in your relationship when it comes to fun and playfulness. So one, I think that's the first key.
Yeah, you need to rely on the law of reciprocity. The law of reciprocity being that if you do something good for someone, in theory, they should reciprocate and do something good for you. If you smile at someone, they'll reciprocate, they'll smile at you. If you're playful with someone, it might not happen straight away, but eventually they'll be like, fuck, they're being like kind of cute. And then you get a little bit back, and then you both take a step forward. And then that becomes a new norm, and you take a step forward and you take a step forward. But yeah, like you just said, that is 100% not how you do it.
No.
You don't like hang up the podcast and go, hey, fucker, I've noticed you're not playful. Be playful.
Yeah.
They'll just be like,
Yeah.
yeah, cool. You've
It's
really
like
sold me on this idea. Fucking
it's like
playful.
saying to your kids, go play. And they're like, yeah, okay. Like they're scared to go play because they're being told, by a parent to aggressively play,
Yeah. But I mean, it's true for any relationship. Like I have a really good relationship with my daughters,
You do.
especially now at the age they're at. So
Yeah.
my oldest daughter's 16, almost 17, and my younger one is 14, 15. And we have really landed in this place of like mutual respect. Like they know I'm their dad, but we're like mates.
Yeah.
Right. And they always know where the line is because I let them know where that fucking line is in no uncertain terms. But up until that line, we're playful.
Yeah, it's true.
And they engage with me how I engage with them. Because I'm playful with them, they're playful back with me, right? If I was like a full hard ass with them, then they would reciprocate, and that playfulness would not exist.
Yeah.
So, like we say in every episode, anything in a relationship is always a two-way street.
Yeah.
But someone's got to start somewhere.
And I guess this is also to say that there are going to be people out there listening who they are being playful. You are being playful. You are wanting to bring that lightness, and maybe you are with someone who is stuck in, seriousness and non-playfulness, and who knows what might be going on with them, right? And there will be people who feel like they're bashing their head against a brick wall. And that's a tough place to be. That is a tough place to be when someone is super playful and then the other isn't. It's like, well, what do I do?
So if I was in that situation, because that's always how I try and answer any question, the one thing I have learned throughout our entire relationship is that communication is the cure all. And so many times there isn't communication readily available in relationships. In ours, it is. Right?
I know.
We talk out everything, and we talk it out fucking quick, smart.
Yeah.
And we've seen the benefit of communication. Even our friends' relationships who have been stuck in things, we're like, dude, like go and have the fucking hard chat. And then the chat happens and it's like, oh my God, it fixed everything. So if I would work on the assumption that if someone is quite playful and they're with someone who isn't playful, that at one point in time they were playful, because that's probably why you got together. And if that's gone, you start with the conversation. And the conversation is, hey, you would go all the way back. You'd say, hey, I want to talk relationship, and I want to talk about what our mutual values are in our relationship and what they were when we first got together. And then that will lead to conversations. And, sometimes those conversations lead to ending a relationship. But I've always stood by the fact that, if a relationship does end because you've got two people who both intuitively know that they're no longer meant to be together, then you're better off to have that hard chat and find someone who is great for you, because as we know, or as we think we know, there's one shot in this format of life. But talk it out. Yes, it is incredibly frustrating where one person is showing up and the other person isn't. And
I mean, if we just touch on the topic of so sex can be playful. And in the beginning of our relationship, that was there. That playfulness was there. And then for me, it went away. And so that didn't change in you, that changed in me. And you had to keep bringing the hard conversation to the table. And I then had to do the hard work if I chose to. I could have not chosen to and be like, nah, fuck you. I'm just not going to be sexually engaged like I used to be. And then created a lot of pain, continued pain in our relationship. But again, it's that responsibility piece where you brought the conversation multiple times. I, if I'm really honest, danced around it a few times and then was like, fuck, this is hurting us.
Mm.
You know, this, I see the hurt in him because, like I said, sex can be and is a playful thing where, and at some point that changed for me. So, because I love Steve, because I love our relationship, and I don't want to see him hurt. And also, I know I'm hurting because the way that I was viewing sex was in a very negative way. And it was time for me to do some shadow work, to do the messy work, right? And this is the thing. You might be in a relationship where you bring the honest conversation. That person somewhere deep down knows that they've got work to do and they just may not be willing to do it.
Mm.
And that's the point where you make a call of what to do next. But at least you brought the conversation to the table rather than I'm being playful all the time. You're not being playful. You're not being playful. You're not being playful. You're not being playful, as opposed to that heart conversation of I've really noticed a shift in you from when we were first together to now. And I'm really curious as to why that is. I'd like to let you know how it's impacting our relationship. And are you willing to look at that? Like that's a different conversation, isn't it?
Yeah, totally. And it's also about you respecting your, your joint um end result of your
Mm,
relationship. Like in
mm,
my case, I said, one of my end results from a relationship is that I'm going to have, an active sex life.
yeah,
Um,
yeah,
and if that's no longer one of your,
mm,
end results of a relationship, we have an issue here that
yeah,
potentially is unresolvable.
yeah,
Um, so let's chat it out.
yeah.
And you should, when I say like, I think it's fair to say no relationship will ever be as good as it is at the honeymoon period, right?
Mm,
Because
mm,
it's
mm.
like rose-colored glasses. Like
Yeah.
they can do,
Everyone's on best behavior.
yeah, they can do no wrong, and
Yeah.
like their shit doesn't stink, and like they're perfect, and I maybe that's not the bar to reach for, but I still use that as
Mm,
my bar of what we were.
set.
Yeah,
Yeah.
because that in theory is what it can be. Like that's what the other person
Mm,
and yourself are capable of
yeah.
when you are fully in, hunting, best version of yourself mode.
Mm,
So let's say that becomes the 100% version of your relationship. Well, maybe, you aim to like keep it at like 80% and
yeah.
above in
Yeah.
relation to that.
Yeah.
But I would use that as a benchmark. So,
Mm,
if when you first started going out, you were constantly having date nights and watching movies together
mm,
and spending time, then it would be like, okay, well, let's make sure that stays part of our practice. And in terms of like, how often you're engaging in intimacy, like how often, versus now. And if it's like chalk and cheese, it's like, all right, we'll go back and visit that piece. um but it is a relationship is a practice.
it
It's
is.
the practice of showing up time and
Mm,
time again as
mm,
you've committed to show up,
mm,
and to just know that if that practice gets, ignored
yeah.
or done less frequently or not shown up to us properly, like anything, it's just going to become worse.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
when you look at all the components that form a relationship, and there's so many.
So many.
I mean, we could actually just do like this whole
Yeah.
whole podcast,
On
like
all the
series on
aspects
all
that
the aspects
contribute.
of
I
relationship.
know.
Like,
It's actually a good idea.
yeah, it's cool. It's a
Yeah.
good idea. Yeah, I'll take it.
Yeah.
But today's one is fun, and it could just be like the reminders of things that people have to go away and think
Mm,
about.
mm,
Consciously think about. All we're doing today is consciously putting the thought into your brain. Are you having fun? If you're not having fun, when did it stop?
mm.
Is your partner trying to be fun, but you're not being
And
fun?
you're viewing it as annoying or as this, as that. And it's like, actually, wow, they're trying to connect
Yeah,
and bring playfulness to this relationship.
yeah. And if you want it back, just know that you're the one who can now take the action to bring it back.
Mm,
And it
mm.
might be a small step. It might be you walk past them tonight and you just slap them on the ass
No,
for
no,
no
no,
reason.
no, no, no female. Well, a lot of the females that I know don't like that.
I was talking to the females
Yeah.
because men will like that.
Oh, you mean the men? Don't
Yes.
do that to the men.
Yes.
Well, that's if you're assuming everyone's in a heterosexual relationship.
Well, now we're getting out of our lane, aren't we? You
That's
guys
true.
can work out what the fun thing is. I'm just saying it can be small, but if when you look at your wheel of life for your relationship, right? Because there's a concept called the wheel of life. If you haven't seen it, you can Google it,
Mm,
right?
mm, mm.
And it basically talks about in order for a wheel to be effective and efficient and roll, right? Then it's got to be a circle. And so there's all these segments in it, like your relationship, your finances, your health, your this, your that. You can create that same wheel of life for your relationship.
Yeah.
And if your fun is currently down
Low.
at like a 0, then you've got a big chunk of your wheel missing,
Yeah.
then your relationship's going to be clunky, right?
Mm.
So that's all I want to do today. I just
I
wanted
think it's
to
a great topic.
shine some light on the fun in your relationships.
And it is true, because even setting up the podcast every time Steve does come on, yes, I do get frustrated because you just, I don't know. You
Because
don't do anything.
I just have fun.
You're doing you, and I'm the one getting triggered. So, but we laugh.
Yeah.
Even though I'm annoyed, like I'm laughing
The
and
more
giggling.
annoying you get, the more fun I'm having. So therefore, fun wins, mate, every time.
Every time.
I'll let you look as a guest speaker. I'll let you take us out today.
Thanks, bro.
And I'll see your crew. I'll see you next month. I'll have a list of things that we can share about relationships.
Love you.
Love you too.
That was weird.
Yeah, I didn't like that last bit.
Say it again.
Take the love you out.
Why?
I didn't like it.
I'm going to leave this in.